Hi everyone and welcome to my, today crafting station. I've been working on the second picture of Fabian the last days. So this was the colored pencil / oil painting, and I just needed some break from realism. And as it's very sunny outside and more than warm here, I decided to make something beachy. And in this video I will show you how you can make these beachy scents like paintings yourself quite easily, and I hope you enjoy. To start with, you can use any canvas of any size that you want to use. You can also use a canvas board or even an MDF plate if you have. Whatever you actually like the most. Take something that can take a bit of weight, because the sand that will apply will weigh a bit, and you will also need some sand. I have some quite fine sand from a local decoration store. I have some PVA glue and a mixing cup, of course. And then there's also some stuff that whatever you want to add. I did have some mussels left that I can add to it, and some of this green mossy like whatever it is stuff, which I thought might look cool perhaps. Yeah, in the very beginning you just need to mix your PVA glue with the sand. My sand had some smaller stones in it, which I could have sifted through, but I think perhaps it might look cool having some bigger stones on the canvas, so I left them in. And I mixed it to quite a thick consistency. So like a consistency when you're on the beach and there is just some water on the sand and you grab a handful of sand. So this was kind of the consistency that I've used. And yeah, just added this mixture to the canvas and spread it around at these areas where I wanted to have the beach. And the good thing, as it's already sand, there is no need to care about any sand texture or sand color, because it is sand already. So once the sand was on the canvases, I just put some of the mussels and the green mossy stuff into it just to make it dry with the sand together. And I've let it dry. It took about 30 minutes, so it was quite quick. And when this was done, I thought about how to make the water the easiest. As you might have seen on my channel, I do also some of these acrylic fluid paintings. If you have not seen them, why not? Check them out. They are fun to make and to watch. So head over to my acrylic section. And so I decided I will try to make an acrylic pour for the ocean scene. And before that I just painted the water with acrylic paint just to have a base layer, and then I mixed my colors for the ocean. I used some Floetrol and a bit of color. You can actually also use just the color and a bit of water. And I did not add any silicone or whatever to it. It just Floetrol and the paint itself and a bit of water. I added some glitter to the blue paint, just perhaps to make it look a bit watery shiny, which did not work on this one, so it was a nice try at least. And then I poured my color onto the canvases. As you can see, I made some more smaller canvases just to try some stuff out, what looks nice, what does not look nice. And yeah, started over, and to make it a bit look like water, I just took a straw and blew the color into each other. I could have tried a dirty pour or a swipe, but this would have not created the water effect that I wanted to have. And even the straw version did not really do exactly what I wanted. It looked in a way quite nice, but yeah, not that great as I wanted it to be. One thing that I've also noticed at this point is when the sand has a hard edge, so does not really glide smoothly into the water, it will look a bit strange in the painting. As you can see on the middle square canvas, it looks a bit strange as there is the hard edge. It looks better when the sand is smooth transitioned into the water. As I was not as happy as I wanted to be, I thought about trying something else, and this was just using my art resin and adding some color into it and try to create the water effect with the art resin. So I mixed it. It is a 50-50 mixture, but depending on the kind of resin that you have, it can be different. Added a little bit of color, and you only need a very little bit, because if you have too much of the paint, it will mess up with the resin and it dries strangely, so it's really just a drop of paint. I added again some glitter to the blue, as I thought it will be more transparent as the regular paint was. and also added some glitter to the white to make it perhaps look a bit like watery, bubbly effect which appears when the water runs over the sand. So I mixed the colors, poured them on the canvases, and again used the straw to push the colors around. And this started looking awesome, and there was the glitter visible in the water, and you know, glitter is important sometimes. It was a bit more difficult to blow the color around with the straw than it was with the paint, but yeah, it's just because the resin is a bit thicker than the paint was, but not much of a deal. You can take your time. The resin has about 30 minutes until it settles, so quite plenty of time to move the color around, to correct things, to add things, and as this created the effect that I had in mind, more or less, I decided to make my bigger canvas, which was a 30 by 60 centimeter one, with the resin as well, and with the same technique. The only thing that I was not really that happy with was the fact that the white was not as opaque as I would have loved it to be. I did not really want to add more of the white color because of things that could happen with the resin. So I found it to be a bit more translucent than I wanted it to be. But, well, there is nothing really I had in mind that I could fix it, and so I lived with it. But I really liked the effect, and the glitter was very nicely seen in the dark water, and yeah, I really liked it. After everything was poured onto the canvases, the resin needs to dry. And this takes quite some time, so quite much longer than acrylic paint would need to dry. This takes about 24 hours to settle. And so I put it aside and waited until the next day. The good thing, once it's dried, you always get this glass-like shiny effect, and it's already sealed and pretty, and it really looks cool and water-like. So this is something I would really recommend using instead of the acrylic paint, because of the two reasons. It looks cooler in terms of water effect, and it already has this glow shiny effect, which you can achieve with the acrylic paint when you want it, yes, but it still looks way better with the resin. But I was not as happy with the transition to the sand, as this was not as bright and water bubbly as I wanted it to be. So I just decided to use some acrylic paint, and I just used the white one, and it's one of these little cheapy awful brushes that you can get a kilo for $1. I think every one of you will have these somewhere lying around because you cannot really paint with them, but they are quite nice for some effects, as for these effects that I'm trying to create here. And I just used very little paint, dipped my brush into it, and dipped it onto the transition zone between the water and the sand. I did this over and over again in, I think, 2 or 3 layers. I sometimes also used a towel just to make some texture within the color, and yeah, in the end it looked in a way like the waterline. What you need to have in mind, this of course will never look anything close to a photorealistic ocean scene, and that was not my intention. I wanted to be a bit like my abstract paintings from the acrylic fluid paints, which definitely was. I really like the effect that you can do with the resin and the color, and I'm sure I will try this out for some more paintings, perhaps some, well, space scenes or something like this. So stay tuned, you will find it on my channel once I've tried it. Even if I failed, I will tell you. Yeah, I will. And yeah, this is something that you can do for your own. It's quite simple, it's quite cheap, and it's also a nice gift. So if you have someone to make a small present, it's really fun to make. So I hope you had as much fun watching this as I had fun making it. And I also hope that this video was, again, as usual, of any help for you. If you have any questions, please leave me in the comments. If you have any comments, if you like this, please leave me in the comments as well. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, you should definitely do this, because it would be nice. And yeah, see you for my next videos. Have a great day. Bye bye.